Svetlana and Peter had been wed for 5 years. Recently, they relocated to a modest 2-bedroom flat, an inheritance from Peter. Over time, Sveta had grown increasingly laid back. Once ambitious in her career pursuits, she now seemed content with her mundane job, showing no aspirations for advancement. Her husband shouldered most of the financial responsibilities anyway. Conversely, Peter was driven to secure financial independence, aiming to liberate himself from reliance on his employer and bonuses. Hence, alongside his job, he delved into a small independent venture centered on goods resale, recognizing the importance of diligent work for a prosperous future. One weekend, the couple lounged at home, absorbed in a film, when the tranquility was interrupted by a phone call for Sveta. Answering, she discovered it was her close friend's husband on the line. Instantly, Sveta hushed the conversation upon recognizing the caller. Peter overheard everything. Suspicious, he questioned whether Sveta was at their friend's place or elsewhere. Sveta, without hesitation, concocted a story, claiming they were merely watching a movie at home. She explained that due to the movie's volume, their friend hadn't heard her phone ringing and was en route back. Relieved, the friend's husband thanked her and ended the call. Peter scrutinized Sveta, querying her actions. Why cover for her? He asked incredulously. Sveta offered a cryptic response, implying there were matters her husband need not be privy to. What sort of business is this? Peter inquired, sensing deception. She has her own affairs. I can't betray other people's confidences, Sveta deflected. Peter realized something was amiss, recalling Ira's lively and sociable nature, which led him to entertain the notion of a clandestine affair. This prompted a pertinent question. Had the two friends conspired to cover for each other? A recent incident came to mind. When Sveta went out with her friend before and started delaying her return without answering calls, he had contacted Ira, who assured him all was well and they were together. Yet Sveta hadn't been gone for long. Now faced with a similar situation, Peter began to view his wife through a different lens. The previous incident with Ira's call had already planted seeds of doubt regarding his wife's honesty. If she could deceive others so effortlessly, could she not also deceive him? Soon, Peter would have an opportunity to unravel the truth. Sveta mentioned going to a cafe with Ira, followed by a stroll in a nearby park. Later, when Peter attempted to reach her, she remained unreachable. Determined, he headed to the cafe where they were supposed to meet. Upon arrival, he searched for Sveta but found no trace of her. While circling the building, he dialed her number. And after a brief moment, she answered. "Hi, is Sveta with you?" Peter inquired anxiously. "We're just taking a stroll," replied the woman. "Could you pass the phone to her?" "She's not responding to me," the husband requested. "Oh, she can't right now." Ira hesitated. "I'm waiting for her outside the restroom." At that moment, the husband spotted his wife with a stranger, previously obscured by dense foliage in the park. They were now in plain sight, locked in an affectionate embrace, hands entwined. It was evident they shared a bond beyond mere friendship. Indeed, as he suspected, the two friends were covering for each other. "Very well, I'll end the call." "You handle it," he retorted snidely. Determined to teach his friend a lesson, the husband began to approach his wife. Evidently, Sveta had indeed initially sat at the cafe with her friend, bidding her farewell before rendezvousing with this man. This realization struck him as Ira had muted the call, allowing him to witness her hastening towards Sveta, proffering the phone. While Ira caught her breath, Sveta, oblivious to the unfolding drama, answered the phone. "Hello, darling. Where are you now? The husband gritted through his teeth. Urka and I are out for a walk, as I told you, she replied nonchalantly. I'll join you. Don't mind. No, don't, she blurted, suddenly realizing her odd behavior. I doubt you'd be interested in our girl talk, she finished nervously. At that moment, her husband approached the group, announcing his presence. The shock on all three faces was palpable. Answer me quickly. Who are you? He demanded of the stranger, who stood frozen with mouth agape. He's my brother. Ira interjected, nervously biting her lip. Fine, Ira's brother. Are you ready to take my wife with you today? The husband asked sternly. Because as of now, she's homeless and single, he added, shooting a condemning glance at his wife. Despite attempts from both friends to intervene, the husband remained resolute, having seen through their charade. He promptly headed to Ira's husband to expose the deceitful plot, determined not to let these two concocted personas manipulate him in the future. Wanting to spite Ira for covering up his wife's infidelity, the man quickly evicted the unfaithful spouse and then filed for divorce. As expected, her lover, counting on casual connections, did not offer her shelter, especially after their encounter with her husband in the park threw him off balance. Forced to tighten her purse strings and find alternative accommodation, the woman's life changed dramatically. However, in all this turmoil, a silver lining was discovered. After a couple of weeks, Ira, also banished from the marital abode, offered to become roommates. At first, Ira's husband hesitated, but after Ira skillfully manipulated him, hinting that his actions stemmed from unreasonable jealousy, agreed. At first torn between contradictory versions, he finally came across undeniable evidence of his wife's infidelity, which prompted him to take decisive action and marked the beginning of significant upheaval. Thus, the two divorced, abandoned women began living together, driven by resentment and mutual recriminations. Their once harmonious cohabitation soon turned into incessant quarrels, leading both to seek solace in liaisons with strange men and, ideally, new living arrangements. The prospect of a meaningful relationship with a man seemed elusive, however, as suitors were hesitant to commit to women of their age and circumstances, plagued by unanswered questions about their past.